All right, we are here. My last stream for this night cycle. And for this stream, primarily for playback, obviously. That's why I'm pumping out so much of these. We're going to talk about Haitian heroes, right? But specifically Haitian action heroes, right? Because one of the things that makes it boring for young folk who want to get into their own culture is that their own culture is different from the dominant society. Our people live in this world with us. They live and see things on Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, and they get to see everyone else be very cool. They get to see Bruce Willis jump out of buildings with fire extension hoses strapped to his waistline while escaping helicopter fire. They get to see Neo dodge bullets. They get to see all these different characters from all these other ethnic groups. But when it comes to them, what do they get? What do they get? Brother Voodoo, perhaps? From Marvel Comics? Nothing wrong with him, but is that all? In reality, Hollywood has been mining Haitian culture forever, forever. And I intend to basically get into that with this stream. All right. And any of you who are listening in, let me know if you know of any secretly Haitian action heroes out there, right? In the shows you watch, in the series that you stream, in the comic books you read, in the novels that you sit down with a mug of coffee to inhale, right? Let me know if you know of any Haitian heroes, Haitian action heroes specifically. Okay. I don't know if any of you have seen the film Overlord. Also, in this stream, one of the purposes of the stream is I intend to test the limit of YouTube's copyright algorithm, right? So I have some clips here. However, they're broken up, and I want to see after the playback if we get a copyright claim because I broke up the clips even though they're copyrighted and they're broken into tiny sections. If you've seen Overlord, right, then you've seen this. We later find out, or probably earlier chronologically, depending on where that piece of action is in the film. The- Probably earlier or later, we find out that he is Haitian. He's in the American Army, yes. However, back home, the reason why he's valuable in France here in World War II is that he's the only one in his squad who speaks French. And what French does he speak? He speaks Louisiana Creole French. His, I don't know if it's grandmother or something like that, is from Louisiana and she's Haitian, which makes him Haitian. And we watched this movie. Many of us watched this movie, and many of us, it escaped us that we're watching a Haitian action hero. Hollywood snuck that in there, and that's really cool. I like it. I like the fact that they snuck that in there. I really do wish the film was a more financial success than it was because it kind of like flopped at the box office, but it's not due to this brother. This brother was amazing in the film. Hold on, here's another clip of it.
3 months ago, I was cutting grass in my front yard. And the mailman shows up with a letter from the army. Now I'm here.
Right? Here's another clip.
Yeah.
Welcome to France.
What happened?
There's a lot of soldiers out there. There's only 4 of us.
Find out what's inside that compound.
The film was amazing. I can't believe that it was a flop. When I saw it, I left the theater feeling very uplifted. And at the time, I knew that it was a Haitian brother I just watched kick all kinds of ass in the film. Now, the way they set up the film, it looks like they left the door open for a sequel if the studio wanted to put up the money to make a sequel, but it probably won't happen. Especially with the pandemic that we have now, money will be allocated to what's called tentpole films, which are the Justice League, Fast and the Furious, you know, films where you spend like two 300 million dollars. Give me a second here. Now, aside from one of the reasons why I brought this film up because Haitian people have distinguished themselves militarily. Okay, we before before being part of the Haitian army, we were part of the French army. Then after that, many of us were part of the American army. How many of you know that at least 5 members of the Tuskegee Airmen were Haitian? I didn't know this up until recently when I looked it up. There were Haitian pilots, and there was one Haitian pilot even before that in World War I. Right? So these kinds of things need to be brought up. They need to be brought up when our young people are looking for heroes to look up to. Because when we look for Haitian heroes to look up to, we only look to the Haitian Revolution, but we don't look before or after. And speaking of looking before, let me ask you guys something. How many of you saw 300? No, this is not a Hotep moment. I'm not going to say that the Spartans were black. No. But do you remember this clip? Okay, so that's pure fiction. That's pure fiction. The 300 Spartans did hold off the Persian army at Thermopylae, where the mountains and hills bottlenecked the huge Persian army, making their numbers insignificant, right? So, there's only so many soldiers you can fit into that narrow valley, right? Maybe 10, 15 soldiers at a time. And then because it's 10, 15 soldiers at a time, the 300 army, the Spartans, they were able to hold that because they were able to fight them at 10 soldiers shoulder to shoulder at a time, which made it feasible, right? And that scene you saw with Leonidas doing all that, it never happened. Never happened. That's pure fiction. Spartans would never go split off into singular units like that, like solo, and go seek glory. That's a samurai thing to do. Samurais did that thing. Samurais, when they faced off against the Chinese, one of the things the Chinese figured out was that each samurai were uniquely skilled. They each had unique skills pertaining to one of those soldiers, down to a man. And those samurai would seek personal glory, and they would not fight as a unit. The Chinese soldiers, they fought as units, and that's how they defeated the Japanese in one of those battles. I forgot which one, right? But to get back to the Spartans, that never happened. Do you know in history, it did happen one time when one soldier took down many, many men to hold down, some sort of pass, a narrow pass. The one time it happened, especially with hand-to-hand combat, was this guy, Alexandre Dumas. I think the third, or maybe the second. I forget. Right? Now, Alexandre Dumas is either the great grandfather, no, no, the grandfather or the father of Alexandre Dumas, the writer of the Three Musketeers. How many guys and girls of you realize that the Three Musketeers was written by a Haitian? They won't tell you this, but he has Haitian blood. His grandfather or father, whichever character this happens to be on screen right now, this guy was born, literally born in Haiti, right? French father, Haitian mother. Okay, he's literally born in Haiti, bilingual, biracial, and to get in the army, his father advocated for him. Hey, let my son in. He's gonna do you well. They're like, well, I don't know. You know, he's kind of Negro. Well, all right, kind of Negro. Let him prove himself, and they let him in the army. And this is what he did. The guy who was chronicling this event here, there was a lot of times when these people back then, they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have Instagram, you know, put up the story like, hey, no. What they did was they had chronicles, and if they really had money, they had an illustrator go with them, right? The chronicler wrote down, and then the illustrator design drew this, but the chronicler wrote down that every time Alexandre Dumas' blade went up, the Polish soldiers cringed in fear. And every time his blade came down, a Polish soldier's body hit the floor. It's basically the Leonidas thing. Only thing is, the Leonidas portrayal in 300, that was fake. This is real. This is real. We have a legit Haitian action hero. But we don't get to hear about these things, not very often. Here he is again on his horse majestically, Alexandre Dumas. And I love the white glove. I knew of this picture before, and that's what kind of like inspired me. You see this uniform that he's wearing? That's what inspired me to design my characters with these white gloves. White gloves and the pauldron. Notice that their uniform is very almost colonial. But the colonial aspect of it is to make it that it looks very official, very regal. You know what I mean? To get back to the Haitian heroes for a second, we were pilots, we were pirates. This is Henri César. Henri César was a pirate, also known as Black Caesar. Okay? Terrified the seas. Terrified the seas. And when you're watching Pirates of the Caribbean, maybe you might want to think of this guy as well, because he was out there doing the legit things that uh Captain Jack Sparrow is supposedly doing. So we have another legit Haitian action hero. But we don't hear about these people. All we hear about are the things that happened during the revolution, which is not to take anything away from the revolution itself. We had real life action heroes back then too. Meet Dottie Boukman, right? Born in Africa, right? Then sold in Jamaica, ended up as a Haitian and as a catalyst and a leader, a primary leader and pioneer in Haitian revolution. Okay. By the way, I painted this. Next, we need to give me a second. We need to actually get a hold of ourselves as Haitians. If there are any Haitians watching this right now or during the playback, we need to get a hold of ourselves. What I found out from my aunt and my mom about 10 years ago, I found this out from my aunt and my mom. When I asked them, hey, auntie, especially my aunt, I was like, when you saw the fortress, how did it make you feel? The fortresses that we have in Haiti, because I read about them and I'm too young to have seen it. And she's like, nah, we never saw that. What do you mean you never saw that? You lived in Haiti. And she's like, nah, the Haitians in Haiti don't even get to see those landmarks. What? See, Haiti is so struck with artificial poverty, artificial poverty meaning we can't get our act together because we don't have control of our own land and government due to corrupt officials. We're so struck by artificial poverty that even the Haitians in Haiti can't afford to travel in Haiti. They can't afford to travel in Haiti. And so I'm really testing the limits of the YouTube copyright algorithm here. But and so the only time that we in the diaspora and Haitians themselves get to see the landmarks and the majestic icons of the country. The only time we get to see that is through the eyes of what you Hispanics call gringos. Majestic ruins and fortresses worthy of ancient Greece. You guys ever see the you guys ever see the ancient Greek, I don't know, the Parthenon and the, the Acropolis and all these things, right? You see all these marvels and wonders, and they're national icons. They're national icons of those countries like Greece and Italy. But you never think, hey, Haiti has those things too. We have them. We have them. But we don't have control of our own country. We're constantly in the streets fighting our own government, so much so that we don't get to see the majesty of what we have. Notice that it's a white guy who had to come here and show us the majesty of those places. I split that clip up. It's a long video. Show that guy some love. I'll drop a link to his page. If he feels, if the guy, if you're watching this, I'm intending to use this as fair use, right? But if you feel so inclined that you want whatever proceeds, if this gets monetized and you want the monetization instead, I'm totally fine with that. Because I tried to get in contact with you, you never got back to me. You don't seem to be on your page, right? So um it took a white guy to go and show us what's going on in our own country, our own monuments, our greatest accomplishments. Okay, and the sad thing about it is when you guys saw all those majestic structures, those things, some of them, I don't know if probably all of them were complete at the time. And then these great battles took place against the French and even against each other. And those things are ruins now. They're ruins now. You understand? And I have these conflicts with white supremacists when they say that black people have never built anything. And I mean, we'll recall this guy, even with I have conflicts with white supremacists and our own coon class, whether it's African American coons, whether it's Haitian coons. Often it's African American coons because they've absorbed the talking points from their own masters, from their own former masters,
And I
and then they
wonder,
think,
bro, Ted, how
oh,
many worlds, when they say that black people have never built anything, how many worlds black people have to build in order to get credit for building the world?
you know, you know, but we'll still get them saying the same thing. Because after black people built Black Wall Street and they bombed it to smithereens, they still say, "Well, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps," and then their own coon class goes,
You niggas are crazy. Black people, let me tell y'all something. If you don't ever hear me say preach again, they can kill me tomorrow. But let me tell you something. We're not going to ever get anywhere until we look into the mind of a black man. He doesn't think correctly. I don't care what he is. He can be a doctor. He can be an astrophysicist. The nigga ain't got no sense. You talk to him. You talk to a black man. He doesn't understand the world. He's never built anything. The most the black people have ever done, they did it here in America under white people's help. When they were in Africa, they didn't do nothing.
"Okay." Now you have this coon saying that. Meanwhile, when I was looking for inspiration to write a story, and I was looking for mountain fortresses for the hero to have a final fight scene with the villain and I was looking elsewhere. I was looking in Ireland and Switzerland and all these places. And my buddy said, "You playing games, bro?" And then he sent me articles and photos of my own place. I mean, my buddy's not even Haitian, right? He's from another Caribbean island, but he sent me this. And he's like, "Why don't you look home first? You playing games, yo?" And this, you know? And it really saddened me because I fell into the same trap that I warn people of believing propaganda. And it kind of dovetails into what Denise was saying earlier today when she broke the news about what's going on in Puerto Rico, that our own officials are so corrupt. They're willing to sell out our legacies so that they can take home some petty $1 million in some offshore accounts like Cayman Islands or Switzerland or whatever. And then meanwhile, they sold us out. Because the reason why actual Haitians, except for those kids you saw there, the reason why the majority of Haitians have never seen their own capitals, not even their own capitals, but because that's not their capital, have never seen those high mountain fortresses. And I'd like to know what the Haitians who built it were thinking. Where were they expecting these attacks to come from? That they built them on such high mountains. All these things need to be in books, and movies need to be made about them, but there are no movies right now. They prefer to reboot Braveheart again, so we can see William Wallace wearing a kilt, wearing a skirt out there, with, in Scotland, wherever. But they'll never make a movie like this. How many times have they tried to make a Haitian movie? Even himself, Danny Glover, tried to make a Haitian movie about the Haitian Revolution, and no studios would support it. Every time he showed up to the board meetings, they kept on asking, where are the white heroes in this thing? He's like, "But you understand this is a black nation." And they're like, "Yeah, but we need white heroes in there." So basically, they would want maybe, e- what's the guy's name? Batman, Christian Bale. They probably want Christian Bale to be, Toussaint Louverture, to be the leader of the Haitian Revolution. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I'm happy that I have these things to actually delve into, to mine them for my own stories, because history is public domain anyway, right? But even if other people use the histories for themselves, it doesn't mean that I can't use them for myself and for my stories, especially since it's my culture and my legacy. We were involved in World War I. I did not know that. I did not know we had Haitian World War I pilots. Apparently, we had a few. I didn't know we had whole pilots during the Tuskegee airmen era, where they went out there and protected World War II bombers. I didn't know that. But you know, learning's half the battle. G.I. Joe, right? So, in conclusion, I guess, let me see who's in the chats. Yeah, Sundown. We ain't never built nothing. Yeah, and the thing is, we kind of laugh at that guy, but he's not the only one. There are a lot of people out here doing that. There's a YouTuber called Tree of Logic, and she was propagating that same thing because she had not Richard Spencer. She had Jared Taylor on her show, and she kept on going through the same things that Jared Taylor himself no longer believes. One of these days I'll get a clip. I hope he doesn't. Jared, if you're it's all in good fun, man. If you want to copyright strike my stuff when I get your video out there, that's fine. But I want to actually get Jared Taylor's video when he says that black people never built anything in Africa, and we never had more than a two-story building. And I want to actually debunk it with all these towns and kingdoms that the white colonial powers burnt down and destroyed, right? And hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. But Tree of Logic was repeating the same thing that Jared Taylor had learned not to say anymore about 7 years before he showed up on her show. She was late to the party. Like, hey, we don't say that anymore. We found the remnants of those buildings. We found the drawings made by the travelers of major metropolitan, ancient metropolitan cities built and run by Africans, where these people had records. Like this guy owes me 10,000 dinars for all the chickens and cows that I sold him. This other guy owes me. They had records, written records. So then you're saying, oh, they had no written language. Then what are those records? What are those records? So it is what it is. It is what it is. But just know, those of you who are white supremacists and slow taps, just know that a lot of us are awake now. And we're super talented. We're super talented. And cameras are cheap. So be on the lookout for action heroes made by us, where we won't have white heroes take over black stories. Right. So that's pretty much my spiel. And I'd like to open up the floor. Right. So I put the link in the chat, and I don't know who's here. There are people in the chat though. I don't know who's here necessarily. Give me a second. But Denise, what's going on with you?
Everything's good. Everything's good. I
Yeah.
just wanted to say first, Haiti is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I want to say. You know, we always see what the propaganda wants us to see, which is
Hmm.
the
Yeah, they show the
beauty,
slums. And
the
all, yeah.
water. Yes, of
Hmm.
course. And they never want to teach us about nature, fortresses, castles, forts,
Mm.
and all of these things that in today's society are perceived as valuable.
Hmm.
However, it's like we have been talking today. Um, it's cringeworthy to
Hmm.
see that there's a reason behind the 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 propaganda being spread as if we're worth nothing, because how could you let your own land be sold if you believe it's worth a lot?
Hmm.
So they have to make you believe it's worth nothing. And that's what that, and also make the world believe that it's nothing, so that they can believe, oh no, they're giving freedom to people in Haiti, they're feeding them, because they're so poor, because
Yeah.
they're so needy, there's
Hmm.
nothing there. And that's how usually colonizers make their inception.
Yep.
It's by making it sound like nothing was there. It's the same thing we saw in Puerto Rico. We discovered later on, after Albizu passed away, and if you were not plugged, we will, we discuss in one of my streams, I think it was one of your streams, how
Hmm.
Puerto Rico had its own economy, its own currency that was more valuable than the US dollar in 1898 when we were invaded
Wow.
by the US. But they like to paint it as if we were just eating mud cookies, and they just came to give us freedom and to put some value in Puerto Rico, when in reality we have always been valuable. We did not need anything from people. If anything, the US and Spain took value from us.
Wow.
They took our resources, our gold, our nickel, and a lot of stuff. And there's still a lot of stuff in Puerto Rico right now. I just discovered, doing some research to explain Saturday about Pedro Pierluisi, that he's deciding to sell the outskirts of our national forest, which is what creates such a great quality of air in Puerto Rico, for $1.8 million.
Huh.
So literally, the more you go down the rabbit hole, the more you will realize, like, these people are running out of shit to sell. And I won't be surprised that they will sell people Like
Yeah, I mean
population.
that's what's left. That's what's left.
Yeah, yeah, for
Look,
sure.
okay. So they sold here. All right, look, they're selling the land. They're selling the species, like the turtle. That's selling them basically. And so what's going to be left after that?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
wonder. I wonder. After that is the people.
it's the people.
So it's like I said,
And
it's so
one of the
crazy.
ways they'll do that through your labor. So then now in your own land, you're going to become a servant class in your own land. That's what they're trying to do with Haiti. Where
Yes, yes,
yeah,
that's right.
I'm sorry. I think I interrupted you again.
No, no, no. I interrupted you. I said yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, but in your own land, you become a servant where they come in and they build, like in Haiti, there's a major. Did you guys know that even with all their propaganda in the media about Haiti, that's the first sentence, that's their favorite sentence, and it's their favorite song. Haiti is actually the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, all right, that's nice, but how come Sean Penn vacations there? Sean Penn's going to vacation in the slum? Why don't you tell the truth? Tell the absolute truth that you've created some sort of heaven and hell situation where the country's broken up into a half of it is absolute hell, and then the other half is pure heaven. And the pure heaven one, it's what you sell to all the Hollywood stars. One of the movies that was made, I think it was called The Thomas Crown Affair with Pierce Brosnan. They the the thief finishes stealing all the millions and millions upon millions of dollars of worth of paintings, and where does he retire, or where does he go on vacation? It's
Haiti.
a hilltop in Haiti.
Yeah.
you know but they can't choose a lane, but by convenience, whenever it's time to denigrate black people, right? Then it's the poorest country, and why can't those people get their act together? Oh, and the low key, the idea behind all that talk is, well, they if they can't take care of the country, well, you know what you gotta do. That's what's the underlying tacit implication of it. That's the underlying tacit implication of it. So when
Yeah.
it comes time to talk about black people, that's the implication. But then when it comes time for their movies, their glorious movies, yeah. Let's go take all our cameras down there, and let's have James Bond have a fight scene and the Citadel.
Yeah. Let's
Wow.
film Lord of the Rings over there.
Yeah, let's film Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You guys should see. I'm collecting more images so I can put on here. So that's why I was actually hoping that you and is questions now. How are you doing? Did your link work? Because you were trying to come in. Oh, she's here. Questions now. How are you?
Yes, thank you. I'm fine. And yourself?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Doing
Okay.
fantastic.
This. Oh, how you doing too, Denise? This is what I'm going to say.
All right.
Um, Samara Bay. I didn't realize. You know.
I'm good. Question now. Thank you for asking.
Oh, you're welcome. I didn't realize it was Haiti's government that allowed so many African Americans to come over.
Hmm.
So yes. So I want to put that out there. I
Okay.
didn't, and I'm just
Cool.
studying
Cool.
on that a little bit more. I don't want to speak too much on it because I have some facts, but not all. And yeah, it's really was a great gesture. And Haiti does have a bad rap, but a lot of people, like you said, vacation there. It's a
Yeah.
lot of people that vacation there, and
Hmm.
including Tariq Nasheed. He said the same thing.
Yeah. And again, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So Tariq says a lot of stuff that's misogynistic and all these sorts of things. But I know
Right.
what to get from him. Eat the meat, spit out the bones, right? So I know what to get from him. I had a friend, a white friend, very trustworthy guy in terms of my life. I could trust my life with him. But if I have a girlfriend when he's around, I can't trust him with a girl. So you got to know who to trust with what. So with Tariq Nasheed, you can't trust him, I think, with matters of, you know, female empowerment. He's misogynistic as hell. And there's a lot of homophobia in there too. You know, if anyone's a supporter of LGBTQIA, they might not feel comfortable with Tariq Nasheed's you know, rhetoric when he starts speaking. However, when it comes to stuff like this, yeah, I think he brings a lot of facts and a lot of information that a lot of people didn't get before. So, you know, shout out to him. Shout out to that brother. Yeah, I don't want no smoke, Tariq.
No, no,
Tariq's petty as hell too. Tariq will
no,
take this. Tariq will take this stream and roast my ass.
no, but you know what? Seriously, because it is a lot of stuff that he say is on point, but a lot of stuff I can't rock with. But like you
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna take what I need from you,
Yep.
and what I
And
don't
then keep it
need, I just
pushing.
yeah, I can leave. I'm learning how to take it and leave what
Yep.
I don't need. But I'm glad you're doing this stream on Haiti, and I think that it is misrepresented, misrepresented, and
Mhm.
also I think that no one wants to touch it for real. And the
Yeah.
first time I ever really heard about it, and I give Tyreek his props for this, was 1804. And then I
Yep.
started looking at
Yep.
my
Yep.
history a little bit, and I haven't. I'm only scratching the surface on this because we have so many great greats. It's crazy, but
Mhm.
it made me wonder, like, wow, hold on, because Haitians um, played a big part in the United States of America.
Oh
And
yeah.
we
Actually,
don't
yeah, I want to touch
talk.
on that on in part
Thank
two.
you.
This is yeah.
And hold
Good,
on,
good, good.
hold on, let me say this in other groups as well. So I don't want to undermine.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
me,
No, we're not
me being
undermining anybody.
ADOS,
Mhm.
you ever hear somebody say you shake your tree hard enough, you'll be surprised, right?
Yep.
And even if we did have right, hold on. So even if I am ADOS and it's long on this side here and so on, but come to find out, you see, but not only one
Mhm.
grandparent, but this grandparent was. You see, so much um with that and me understanding about the native stuff, and I don't even want to go into that. I can really don't even want to touch on that. But anyway,
Mhm.
um with that being said, look, I'm with it. I'm with you talking about Haiti. I'm glad because it has been drugged through the mud just as well as being black, being drugged
Yeah.
through the mud as well. But keep up the great work. I learned a lot here. It has calmed me down in the last week. I know that much because usually I come in here pretty hyped, but I'm more relaxed. So,
Yeah.
Not
but
only
Yep.
that, but to add and piggyback from what you were saying, question now, is it's something that I wish we get on more and spread now that we have become aware that our history is being deleted on purpose. Bring awareness
Mhm.
of it, because the more we have to be very loud about it,
right,
Yes.
because if we cannot let it drift away like our ancestors legacy was drift away, like our
Mhm.
Tainos and Caribs and our Wakan people were erased. We cannot afford that. We have the advantage in numbers, so each one of us has to do a little bit of something to be loud and become representatives of our countries. And
right,
I'm glad that Brotep is bringing attention to this, because as many of you guys know, I have stated before, my great grandma is from Haiti, and there's a
right.
lot of things that I
Mhm.
do not know. But unfortunately, I got to see the sad parts when I was a medical cadet for only 3 days,
Mm,
when the earthquake hit
Wow.
Puerto Principe, and the site
Hello.
we saw was not the
mhm,
Oh,
best
my
one.
mic is malfunctioning.
And like I said, it's something that I wish more people were like Bro Tep and bring attention to actually what Haitian legacy is,
right,
because we
right,
need to get on top of this.
right,
Definitely we need to expand on Haiti's history and its legacy today and where they stand.
right. I'm with that 100%. And I'm learning a lot, and it really just warmed my heart when I found out. Um, it wasn't even only Samara Bay. It was another town too, um, as well. But when the whole island was basically uh, I-80. I'm sorry if I said that right.
IET. Mhm.
I-80. Okay, I got to say it
Mhm.
correctly. With
Yeah.
all due respect to the ancestors there.
Yep.
Um, letting us come there and made a path for us. It was thousands of us that went there and still there to this day. And I'm like, what the heck? And it's crazy that the African Americans are still there, which they are now.
Mm,
God, they're still African Americans, but but that's just so crazy.
mm,
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. So just touching on that was really tremendously deep.
absolutely. Hold on one second. I think one of the problems that we have as a diaspora is that we don't explore one another's cultures enough. You know, that's why I'm really into including being into what happens in Haiti and Haitian history and stuff like that. But I'm also very well invested in what happened in the Americas. You know, especially in what I do, which is action adventure stories and stuff like that, and comics. I love things with Bass Reeves in it, and all these different characters who basically fought back against oppression. And next, I'll be looking into what happened in Jamaica because with Dutty Boukman, one of the heroes that Haiti and Jamaica both have in common, this guy here, I want to
Oh,
see,
yeah.
yeah, I want to
Okay,
see what
yeah.
else he was involved in, what else he was involved in, and I want more facts about him. You know what I mean? Because that's a guy that deserves. We're getting all these action movies, about the same people over and over again, and they're usually European. But we're not getting the other sides of the story. How about Anna Kaona, the first queen, the first time in Haiti or any of the Caribbean islands when someone fought back? It was Queen Anna Kaona. What about her? But I haven't seen movies about her. But we will see movies about Queen Elizabeth and all those two doors and all those things, right? Queen Anne Boleyn. They'll. I think it's called. That's not what it's officially called, but I call it. I call it cultural propaganda, where you basically do these stories with whatever medium and media that you have. Back in ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Africa, what we had were our voices, right? But now we have everything at our disposal in terms of visual media. So this is why they use the epitome of their visual media to pump up their cultural icons and engage in cultural propaganda with all these pirates of the Caribbean. And then the story's called Pirates of the Caribbean. And they put us as minorities in the Caribbean. The cast is nearly like 90% white, but it's Pirates of the Caribbean. That's inexcusable. That's inexcusable. That entire cast should have been brown and black people with a smidge of white in the middle because that's what it looked like back then. You're dealing with the Caribbean. Hold on one second. Morena Reyes says, so back the AA went to Haiti and DR. Didn't know that. I thought it was just DR.
Well, it was all I-80 at first, right?
Yeah,
However,
IET. Yeah.
I-80.
No,
I'm getting
just IET. Yeah,
I-80.
IE. Just
I-E-T.
IE. No,
Oh,
like the yeet, like you got yeeted. Yeet.
Oh,
Yeah,
I-E-T.
IET.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
And the Haitians, we pronounced it. We pronounce it the same way too.
I-E-T. Okay.
Yeah, we don't do the we don't do the H. We don't do the
Okay, right.
Haiti. No, it's IET.
I-80. Okay.
IET.
But it,
Yeah.
it was all one at first, right? If I'm
What do
not
you mean? The
mistaken.
entire island? Yeah,
I-80?
yeah,
Yeah, I-80,
yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, IET.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. And when we talk about the DR, and all due respect, to the DR, I'm not taking nothing away from the DR because we know how great it is, and
Hmm.
understanding what really played out there. And I don't want to touch on it too much because that's not my place
That's
to.
fine.
You
That's
see,
fine. It's a free speech zone over
yeah,
here. Yeah.
but to understand that it was what it was, right?
Yeah.
And understanding it was all IAT, right?
Yeah. All of it. Yeah.
And
I mean, they had different little kingdoms like they had like the United States has here,
right,
but
right,
they were interconnected. In fact, they
right,
unified in on the island when the French and Spanish came to fight them off. They fought them tooth and nail,
right,
especially Queen Anacaona. She held it
right.
down. She held it
Mm,
down. Then they betrayed her. Like, you usually look back then, like right now, they have all these machine guns and shit. But back then, if the natives could simply get past not having seen that thunder stick before, because that's what a lot of our natives all across the planet called it when they saw a musket gun. They called it a thunder stick, right? It's a stick. They never saw it before. And at the end of that stick comes thunder, and then something on the other end of it, on the business end of it, falls down dead. That's what they saw, and that's the information visually that they connected, visual and audio, or auditorily, right? But the minute they got over it, the shock and awe of it, it was on. Native
mm,
Americans here filled these soldiers with 5, 6, 12 arrows before the musket can even load. You know what I mean? So
okay, okay.
the reason why they were killing off all the Native American warriors like they were reloading of cannons, obviously, right? The cannons, they were probably faster than loading the muskets. But mostly it was betrayal. Like they'd say, okay, all this bloodshed, come to this place for a meeting, and they show up and they throw them in prison where they die in prison, or they slash their throats or they kill them. These people don't fight fair because they couldn't handle the tribe of Gad. They were warriors. If you're a Hebrew Israelite out there, you'll know what I mean about the tribe of Gad, Native Americans and on the American landmass, right?
Mm,
So all these different things we need to know them, that our ancestors did not punk out, that we were not a bunch of bitches or punks or cowards or invalids. They fought tooth and nail and they fought hard. You know what I mean? It's just in the end things worked out how they worked out. And I'm kind of fine with that. It is what it is. But I don't like the history that's been propagated to our young, especially because our young suffer from a feeling of, look at what happened to Domren. Do you think if Domren knew how hard his ancestors fought against the Spanish, that he would be, this that he would ride this hard for Europe? The guy has a white person fetish. On one stream, Domren told me, and with the most runaway slave voice imaginable, if white people want to do something, just get out of their way. You can't stop white people.
You got to be kidding me. Did he actually said that?
Yo, I'm gonna have to look for the clip because this man
You
told me
definitely
this, and
said,
in
oh
the yeah,
God.
in the most runaway slave voice
Mm,
imaginable. This man told me this shit. So
wow.
if this dude, because we're hearing that he's very young, right? But if he knew that the Dominican Republic, because I'm sure that he watches stuff like the Three Musketeers, you know, all for one for all the high adventures, the swashbuckling. If he knew that those three characters, their valor, their strength, their skills with the sword, that it was all of it was based on this man here, a
mm,
common ancestor that we have with the Dominican Republic. At the time, the island was not called Haiti yet. He operated where you see him taking down all these soldiers here. Where he did that was on the side of the island that would later be called Haiti. But at the time, it was called Saint Domingue, and it was run by the French. But it was still one island. So with his African blood, he he shares a lineage with Dominicans. So he's not only my hero, he's your hero too, Damren. He's your hero too. Look at him on his horse. He's your hero too. If you knew how afraid, how these people ran off from him like he's Godzilla, and they're Japanese in Tokyo. If you knew how they fled this man all by himself on that bridge, taking down, this was a the equivalent of taking a selfie today or a photo, because they had chroniclers who would write the story and illustrators who would sit down later, and according to what they saw and what was written by the chroniclers, they would recount this in photos and illustrations, right? So if you knew about this, Domran, I don't think you'd ride for Europe as much as you do, because you're only riding for Europe because you only think that they did great things and no one else did. That's why you ride so hard for them. Hold 1 second here. There's no hope for people like Macho or OG Del Rancho, but with at least Domran, at least he's young. At least so they tell me. At least he's young, and that it's not too late to have him understand that his people did fantastic things before the Europeans got there. I've been looking up. I'll have to do something on the island of Haiti before even Africans got there, and
Right.
how native people lived, and they had these amazing structures where I saw how they did their huts, right? Because I do concept art, and I've been looking for how to do structures with wood and natural things that you find in the area, not cement and brick and all these things. Which brings me to another point. I said this before in another live stream where people were basically comparing Spain to the natives that they so-called conquered, you know, basically genocide, but so-called conquered when they got here. And one of the things that they said was that, well, the natives had the land for thousands of years. They didn't do anything with it. Look at Spain. Look at all their major buildings and blah 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 blah. Blah. Well, okay, but we don't know. We don't know what the natural evolution of that technology would have been without Spain's intervention. Because I've seen, and white people are now trying to get into building things out of wood and natural resources only. No, no cement, nothing manufactured. No cement, no glass, no metal. And I think ancient peoples throughout the world would have done something with that, where everything is green and brown. You know what I mean? Like when you no longer use it, the earth swallows it back up, which is how it should be. Because we shouldn't be scarring this planet like we're doing right now. You know? Hold
Right.
on, let me see. Let me see what's
Right.
going on in here. Some guy, truth teacher called. Hold on. Some guy called truth teacher a pillow biter. Okay. All right. See, that's the other thing. More of the. I'm guessing this is towards, what do you call it? Homophobia. This is leaning towards homophobia. These people with their machismo, they're extremely homophobic and misogynistic. And so they end up, when Denise comes up with facts and breaking news, they'd rather attack her personally than say, "Hey, this woman here, she brought us stuff that we didn't hear about before. Hey, let me go save these fucking turtles." No, no, no. Let's use our Instagram and our Twitter and our YouTube to attack a fellow Latina. Let's not use the social media stuff that we have and put that governor on blast for selling the country piece by piece so far, like he's been doing. No, let's not do that. Pocho status. What up, Pocho?
Congrats, Pocho.
Bro, I got promoted by Vintage Records on Instagram with over 5 million views. Really? What happened, Pocho? You got to come here and tell us about it.
Yeah, and
And
congratulations.
congratulations,
Yes.
obviously,
Yes.
Congratulations. Mm.
But wait, you got promoted how, and to what effect? Like how did you get promoted? And we want to know more about it. And how can we, be down? How can we get down with that? Let me actually throw some of this in here. Where's the rest of this? Because I had more. This stuff I'm gonna have to see about approaching this guy and getting his footage, maybe paying for it. I don't know how much he'd sell me the footage because he went there. It's a white guy. Went there to Haiti and got all these fortresses, built by my people that I ain't got access to. But he's got the photography and videography of it, and I want to use them in something like officially that I can sell.
One thing I want to say, I see 16 people here.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Oh,
Like this
thank
video.
you.
It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps Brotep grow his channel.
Thank
So
you
go hit that like and also subscribe and hit the bell for
for
notifications if you miss
notifications.
a video.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Because
you.
we
Yeah.
all
Was it?
learn more about history like this.
Look how many people are here, and it's only 8 likes. Oh, that two dislikes. Did I say anything here that requires that requires a
No,
dislike?
that's just how they go down. That's how they roll, Brotep. You know this
What the
already.
hell? Okay, what's the dislike about anything I said? Is it okay? Did I go in on anybody? Let me try to remember because I talked a lot, right? And I do all of this. None of this is written, so I do this off the top of the head. So maybe I said something that offended someone. Is it because I said that Domren, needs to learn that his people achieve great things? I didn't know that was worthy of a dislike. I didn't know that was worthy of a dislike.
Apparently,
Pocho,
according to them, it is.
Pocho, what's going on?
Yo, 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 what's up, my man? How you been?
Yeah, I'm hearing that big
Yeah,
things are going on with you, Bridget. Well, go on.
yeah. So basically, I got this message from one of my followers who follows me, right, and likes my
Mhm.
stuff. This dude sent me this post from some Instagram account called Vintage Records, and
Mhm.
these guys. I was kind of checking out their page just to see like what the hell this was, right? Because I was like, man, what the fuck is this, right? Why are you sending me this? And they have obviously over 5 million followers, and what they do
Mhm.
is they promote music, right? So if you want to
Okay.
be an upcoming rapper, some type of artist, whatever genre it may be, but typically it's from what I could see, it's like rap.
Okay.
They will promote you. They will promote you if you upload something that they like, they will upload your stuff on Instagram, and then they will, I think, try to see the reaction that it gets, and then from there they could see if they could contact you if they want to hook up you up with like a contractor or something like that. I haven't gotten that message yet, but because this just happened, but I just got that news.
Hell yeah, man! I got my fingers crossed for
Yeah,
you.
bro.
Yeah.
Like this happened, dude. This happened like out of nowhere, bro. Like I was literally just laying on my bed, about to go to sleep. I got this notification and bam, like holy crap.
Mm,
Wow,
okay.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Yeah,
And I
Yeah.
hope they contact you back. I hope you get even more than 5 million views,
yeah.
though.
I hope so too, bro. I hope so.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
what would happen next is they might get you in a studio to record the song with the like you know what do you
Hmm.
call it? Those $1,000 an hour
Right. Yeah.
technicians,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
sound engineers, like Denise. You know what I mean?
Right.
To
Yeah,
yeah,
because
to
that's what's really
make it
lacking.
radio
That's what's
friendly.
really lacking with my songs. You know what I mean? It's like the professionality of it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because you can make a song that's unprofessional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can make it sound real good. But if it's unprofessional, people might hear like
Yeah, look,
like
they'll
like a
hear the
little.
motorcycle in the background while you trying to do the verse, and they hear back there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Well,
like, yeah, you need to be
thank
in a
God none of my
studio.
songs have that. But
Okay,
right, thank God none of my songs have that. But no, I was kind of meaning like like a little puff or something. You know, when you like breathe or something, they might hear some
oh, okay, okay,
things
okay,
like that. Yeah, yeah,
okay,
minor
okay.
things like that, but things
Yeah,
that
but
make it unprofessional. Yeah,
yeah, the engineers get rid of all that stuff. You know, but
exactly.
but by the way, anyone watching right now, what I'm showing you are the hotels and resorts in Haiti. All right, hotels and resorts in Haiti. Because if you leave it up to these people out there, the slow taps and the Hispanotaps and the racists, they'll only show you the slums. Okay, this is where the stars go to vacation. All the Charlize Therons and Ben Afflecks and all those people. This is where they go.
Kanye West.
Kanye West. That's where they go. These major resorts over there. Clean air. The water is, as crisp as can be. All right. No LA pollution where you're choking on, fumes from trucks and all that stuff, and New York pollution where you're choking on fumes from chimneys. None of that. Clean, crisp air, clear water. Look at this, and you notice it's not a black person here in this big ass pool.
Hmm.
It's probably Charlie Theron's ass right there. Probably Charlie's Theron.
That's beautiful.
You know, see all these damn coconuts, and when my family was there, if there are places where you live, you never go shopping. I said this because I'm looking at the coconut tree right there. There are plenty of trees, not only coconut trees, but mango trees and all these sorts of fruits that if you live in certain places, when it's time to cook, you have your huts, right? And the huts are very intricate. You do have a bath, not a bath, an outhouse, and yes, that's kind of third world. But the hut, you can make it as extravagant as you want, and it's air cooled and everything, and it's not it's not denigrated like they make it seem in these TV things like look at Africa now. It's not like that at all. When you're out there, you feel like you're part of nature. Like you feel the strength, and you feel like 10 people in one person. That's why in Haiti, we if you're feeling good, they say "Santim 10 hommes là." That means, oh, I feel like 10 men right now. You feel like 10 people in one body. That's how strong that fresh air makes you feel. And then the soles of your feet connecting to that ground, and then that electricity from the ground. And Tesla proved it, that there's electricity in the ground with that electricity coming through the soles of your feet and connecting you to this planet, to Gaia, right? So you leave the hut, and if you want breakfast, right, your mom or your aunt or whoever, they got a little kindling fire with rocks around it going, and then maybe a metal pot or something like that. And then you go down a valley or galley or whatever, and you go, it's almost like the supermarket, but it's trees, right? So that tree over there, it has a lot of coconuts. So you knock that one down. If you want exercise, you don't want to knock it down, you climb the tree, and then you do what you do, you bring it down, right? That tree over there, that's the mangoes. The other tree over there, that's this other thing. And on the ground would be yams and all sorts of things that grow wild yams, uh wild roots. And you come back with a pail full of it, as if you went grocery shopping at the produce aisle at Walmart. But only this, it's not GMO, right? So these people can eat until their belly is 12 inches, from their belt, out from their belt. They won't get fat. After
Based,
their body. I'm sorry, what?
based.
After that body digests the food, the stomach goes right back down, and it doesn't stay on your hips, on your legs, on your ankles, all this cankle business that we got over here, where if you eat some Popeye's chicken, right, with all the what do you call it, the syringe full of chemicals and hormones that they pump in those wings and those legs and those thighs, that stuff goes straight to you. And then that's why you're walking around, and you're like, damn, where did I get the spare tire around my waist? I just did a whole bunch of crunches, I just ran 5 miles, I still got this tire. Yeah, it's what you're putting in your body out there in Haiti, right? If you live in certain places, not the slums, certain places out in the wild, That's how we did, right? Where you'd have a hut, and then the your supermarket aisle is a row of trees, and each tree has a different thing. And that's what this tree here made remind me of, with all the coconuts in it. We loved coconut water, you know. So it's stuff like that, and that's how these businesses, these businessmen, that's how they live too. When when it's time for vacations, they don't want to be in those glass buildings overlooking the city. That's movie shit. That's Batman. These people get on planes and they come out to where the so-called savages live, so that they can walk barefoot on soil. That's what they do.
No, you're right because I stayed in. Well, I lived there for 2 years, Hawaii,
Hmm.
and I saw a lot when I was there. And they're fighting for their stuff too as well.
Yeah,
And then they
absolutely.
had the flag in distress, which is upside down. And
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So I can only imagine there. And just looking at it, just let me know more. They're still raping to this day. They're still out there plundering everything to this day. And that's
Hmm.
crazy, you know. And
Wow.
so don't believe,
Well, there's so much to plunder.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, there's so much to plunder. Hold on. The only thing they hold up one second. And they artificially produce so much poverty. Rican Delphia came onto this stream and he was arguing with me. These guys ride so hard for their former masters. It's amazing. It's amazing they have any time for themselves. Like this dude was over here, and I was explaining to him how his country was fantastic until, colonialization, and he just wouldn't get it. He wouldn't get it. And all he did was on that stream was down talk African people and black people and Haitians. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where we have to know what we're dealing with when it's these people. Hold on one second here. I'm actually getting another image here because
Okay.
the slums, because there are images of these slums, and I'd like to make one thing clear about some of these slums, because I saw, it wasn't only a documentary. I saw a documentary about it, but I did see mad articles. Our garbage doesn't only go to that big swirl of filth, spinning around in the middle of the Atlantic. We export our garbage. We export, like when you take your garbage out and the garbage man comes to get it. I mean, unless your city is one that burns garbage, which is not good for the ecosystem anyway, because it goes up there and causes havoc for the environmental recycling of air and water. But unless you're a city that burns garbage, you're exporting it. It has to go somewhere. Where's it going? And when these people show these images, I'll upload these images in a second because I had to collect them while I'm speaking. Right? When they get these images, hold on, one more image of that amazing fortress that's become my favorite thing in the world to look at. I seriously have never seen that fortress until a few years ago, and
Hold
it,
on,
it
didn't
was.
they? Oh,
I'm
um,
sorry, go ahead. No, no, go ahead.
didn't they built this after 1804, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. They did it
They
like
were
so
still
that.
building. And
Yeah,
then they go around helping Haiti. Didn't Haiti go around helping a lot of people? I know they,
yeah,
like I said, it's a two-edged sword, and I understand the bad and the good. Like you said,
mhm,
some things they probably
yeah,
did was kind of off,
yeah.
but they
Ev
helped a lot of people.
the good. I don't throw the baby out with the bad bathwater. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
I respect that. Okay.
Yeah. So we did some foul stuff, like when 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 we finished getting the French out of there. You have to understand that we couldn't just move straight into a capitalist state. That's not how that works. Like we or democratic state rather. That's not how that works. We came straight from slavery. Somebody still got to do this work to produce, for the nation. So, our leaders, I don't know if it was Jean-Jacques Dessalines or Toussaint Louverture at the time, but became emperor because we can't have presidents yet. Like we're coming from that sort of system. We're emperors. So he made himself emperor, and he ordered the workers, back to the fields. Let's get these things produced. I mean, we threw away, we drove off the masters, but that doesn't mean like this work shouldn't get done. And then they said, "Oh, you're reinstating slavery." No, you're getting paid, but you got to
Right,
go back to work. Like
right,
this work is this the fields are not going to till themselves.
right. We get comfortable with you saying that, and I'm not gonna cut you off no more because this is
No,
really
no, no, no,
good.
no, no. Good, good, good. Go ahead.
But we get comfortable. You notice that if we
Yeah.
do hit a victory, we like, all right, good. We back to partying and chilling. It's like,
Back to
no, the
yeah,
work don't
party and
stop.
bullshit. Like
Yeah,
Biggie said, we're back to partying and
right,
bullshitting. Come
right,
on, man.
right.
And so
Okay.
they were getting angry at the guy who made himself emperor, and they're like, why are we going back to? Okay, so who do you expect to do the work now? Like you expect like fantasy creatures like elves and shit? No, get back to work. You're getting paid now, but you got to get back to work so that we can have products to trade with other countries to get this economy going. We're a nation now, and we got a huge debt to pay to France for like we had to pay reparations to France. People don't know that we were still paying reparations until the 1970s for freeing ourselves because we were products, right? So technically, we stole ourselves from the French, right? So we were making what's called restitution for freeing ourselves, and the French lost money because they bought us from the African coast. They need to recoup their money. So we were paying reparations to these people for their property too, because we burned a lot of that shit down. You know, we burn. There's a saying called "coupe tete boule caille." That means cut off heads and burn down houses. That's what we did. We went across that countryside, and for my family in particular, we inherited like over the course of 100 years or so, whatever. Um, we inherited a big farm. No questions were ever asked about how we got the farm. You feel me? but but we got it how we got it. No one's asking Benedict Cumberbatch how his parents got all these billions. We're not asking because we know it was slave trading, but no one's asking them. So don't you come here and ask me how the family got this farm. It was once French, now it's not French. All right. But it is what it is. What these people do though is they show this for Haiti. They don't show this. They show this. And I'd like for you guys to look at the garbage itself. Do you guys imagine that the people who are living in this slum, you guys imagine that they're the ones who put all this here? Or I mean, where okay, all these boxes and all that stuff, where's all that stuff coming from? These people, they're poor people who barely have two nickels to rub together. Where are they getting all this shit? And then
Somebody's dumping it there.
yeah, somebody's dumping all this shit. And then they take this photo and they put it online. Look at Haiti now. Like it gets me so frustrated. Okay, so you're high IQ, right? You're a white guy who's got high IQ. You couldn't figure out that the people are living here, barely any money to rub, two pennies to rub together. Where are they getting all this shit? All these tons worth of boxes and crates and fucking, the styrofoam. Where are they getting? It's little ships because I saw the documentary where they have um the boats are the size of battleships, and they're basically dumping garbage. And then one country, I don't know if it was in Southeast Asia, they came out with armed guards. I don't know if they had a coup d'etat because one of their corrupt officials was allowing all this garbage to come in and congest their ecosystem. And then I think they had a coup d'etat and they brought all their armed people there, and they told the ships, yeah, you're not docking here. Take your garbage back with you. And I applaud those people. Yeah, I applaud those people. The same thing with hold on one second. Akintunde of the Haitians said, That is not Haiti. Looks like I've been to Haiti. It's just a slum. See, but this guy's a troll though. It has to be. Has to be a troll. That's not Haiti, Akintunde. So where are these stars vacationing, Akintunde? Where are these stars vacationing? As if we don't know what we're talking about. Well, I mean, you know what, Akintunde? I prefer when you go to Haiti, you go to the slums. You know, when I go to Haiti, I'll go to the nice places if you don't mind. You, with your level of intelligence and your character, you belong in the slums. Why don't you stay the fuck there? I'll go to the nice places and chill out with Haitians who are trying to get things popping. No disrespect to the Haitians who are stuck here in those slums we're looking at right there. I'm just saying. Hold on. The same thing with Africa. W Thunder says. Yeah, pretty much. This other guy, I had put something here. This guy's name here. This is Black Caesar, and he's a Haitian action hero. And I only heard about him up until recently when I mentioned Haitian action heroes, and somebody gave me the name. They were like, "Yeah, he was a black pirate." I was like, "What?" And then I looked him up. Badass. Get some final thoughts from you, Denise, and then from you questions now. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Um,
Oh, if not,
I'm
then
here.
let
Can you
me
hear
do
me?
these final thoughts.
Can you hear me?
We're here.
Okay, okay. No, I thought you guys fell asleep because it's pretty late.
No, 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 no. We're
Okay.
no, no, no. We're here.
No, 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 no.
We're here.
Yeah,
Basically, like I said, today was a very eventful day.
yeah.
And like I said, bro, Tep, shout out to you for bringing awareness to
Thank you,
all
thank you,
these
thank you.
things because it's so much
You know, and
needed.
shout out to you. Breaking news now.
Yeah, it's something. I mean,
Oh, my microphone.
I discussed this with Radical before, and I said to him, that's my goal. You know,
Cool, cool.
it's to bring news on the ground, and that's so I've been sharing news here and there, but never such an aggressive development has happened on anything that I have covered in such a short amount of time. So, you know, we're still on the lookout for new developments on other stories. However, like I said, there's little to not enough known about Haitian culture and Haitian heritage. So, like I said, I have a lot of respect for what you're doing, and like I said, it makes me feel proud. Now, I would say, you know, there's a lot of people right now doing hate streams, and you know, we have to unfortunately let them go, you know, and do what they must do. Good night, Smoothie. Be safe and you know, stay out of danger.
Yeah, stay safe, Smoothie.
Yeah, stay safe. Um, and like I said, it's so crazy because it's like I said, they get on these platforms looking for I don't know what they're looking for, man. But what I would say is that I wish that at least if you're listening, even if it's to give us a hate view, um you know, you take something from what we talk about and research it yourself, because like I always state, I can lie, Brotep can lie, Question Now can lie, Post Your Status can lie, you can lie, but what doesn't lie is facts and statistics.
Yep.
So always go and look for those and stay in tune. I think we're rushing them to actually find answers when they try to debate us. I feel like one of the reasons why they won't debate us any further because they're not willing to read enough to find a counter to what we're
Mm-hmm.
saying. And that's why I said, let the circus be the circus.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it moving. And like I said, tomorrow I'm going to have my usual show, and everybody's welcome to go. If you don't have to join the panel, but at least join so that you can keep up with what's going on. Obviously, I'm going to focus more in Puerto Rico because it's my homeland.
Absolutely.
But I'm also keeping my horizon like a little bit wider for other news that might represent, crucial moves on financial colonization. Now, I would say, Bro Tep, again, thank you very much for having me,
No problem.
for letting me speak here, and for always,
Always welcome. Always welcome.
thank you. Thank you very much. And for always providing a space for respectful and intelligent back and forth. And
Hell yeah.
also, thank you, Question Now, for being here, and also, for bringing amazing points. Every time I jump in here, I learn new things, and it tickles, my brain cells, and
Hmm.
also it encouraged me to look for more information. And I hope I can do the same for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have done. You have done. Question now. Do you have any final thoughts for us?
No, just well, yes, a couple of things. Thank you again. You don't disappoint. Third night in a row. Last thing is we gotta remember we gotta take keys from the Haitians. We gotta take keys from the whole diaspora. Huh? Oh, we have to take keys from the whole diaspora. Just
Hmm.
because we hit a victory point does not mean the work is finished. Very first thing, if you get a
Exactly.
beautiful house, once you purchase that house, things don't stop. You can't just lay and just rest in it. The house shifts, maintenance needs to be done continuously. So that's where I'm at. And that's where our minds, body, souls, and the physical realm as well as the spiritual realm. So I'm gonna keep putting in the work. And also I'm gonna listen to Denise's page about what happened in Puerto Rico. I didn't catch it, but I heard her say something about something with Puerto Rico, something that's happened. So thank you so much, Brotep. As always, great show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Akintunde, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about logic. You understand? That is not how Haiti look like, though. I'm Haitian, and I'm telling you, Haiti does not look one way. You understand? All you need to do is Google Haitian resorts, and you see all these resorts that these rich people go to. That's what I'm talking about. You see all these white sand beaches and black sand beaches, all these different things. You may not be allowed to go there. For me, I know I'm actually working on my platform and working on my comics, working on my economics status to make myself more socially mobile. Okay. And I will be able to go to those places one day, to those resorts. Maybe I'll own one day. All right. So don't come in here. This is not the energy for it. It's like, I think it looks like you're my Roy Chess. What Roy Chess is for African Americans, it looks like that's what you are for Haitians. All right. So take that negative shit, take it somewhere else. N- You said Haiti doesn't look like a slum, but that's what you said up there. Maybe I misread you. If I misread you, I apologize for that. I apologize for that. And yes, the resorts, that's what Haiti looks like in the places where the resorts are. That's I got it directly from their travel brochure places, okay? Anyhow, yeah. So let me wrap up here. Let me wrap up. I thank everyone for showing up, right? This was part one, and it's pending. I don't know how long this will stay up because I used a lot of clips that are copyrighted, but I split them up into tiny sections, not exceeding the 15-second intervals that it takes for it to trip up the algorithm, right? So if it's longer than 15 seconds or 20 seconds, it trips up the algorithm. So let's see if I found a way to surmount that obstacle. Right. Let's see what happens to the stream. But I thank you guys for coming in here, and it's been a great pleasure showing you that there have been Haitian heroes, not just black heroes, not only black heroes, but there have been Haitian heroes right under your nose, right under your noses, from Hollywood themselves. Hollywood themselves, they showed Black Caesar, it looks like, in the Pirates of the Caribbean. But they didn't tell us that it's Black Caesar. There's another female pirate. Maybe I'll save a focus on her for part two. But her name was Jacquot something, right? And she was called Red Dead, not Red Dead Redemption for you gamers out there. Um, back from the Dead Red, right? So that she was a whole Haitian piratess, female pirate queen out there doing her thing. You know what I mean? Lots of Haitian superheroes and action heroes. If you guys really look into it, right? So for those of you who are making your comic books, your little independent short movies, or writing your novels, go ahead and tap into Haitian lore and the Haitian diaspora and the African diaspora and the African American diaspora, Jamaicans, Caribbeans. Look into all these things, even Latinos. If you know, if we have the permission of Shivo and Domren, you guys can look into that as well. Okay, and that will be all for this morning. Wherever you guys are, I hope you're having a lovely, lovely day, and good luck in whatever you do next for the day. Bye.